Who's doing the jewelry store at, on Route 3?
Oh, who took it over?
Yeah, that's,
Credit,
Who?
credit union, Adirondack Credit Union.
Oh,
They're right now Smithfield Boulevard.
Right.
small
They're gonna move over
movement.
to that.
They were gonna move out of there?
Yeah, they got a whole site plan, widening it, paving. They took from that field, they took quarter acre, maybe a half acre to get more parking and get a couple drive-throughs to go through, flow a little better. It's interesting to see how many more things are coming. It's not, restaurants, being a restaurant industry right now is a little tough, so that's the only ones that we don't see, like, moving, the three that are closed.
You will see the restaurants are starting to open up their outdoor seating.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Gus's.
Yeah, Tom Steele's son, Rob's, what's the other?
Rob Steele.
Okay, it is Rob. Rob Steele, which is, the Steel Trust Company. Him and his wife, came in, modified site plan, outside deck seating to be able to achieve COVID requirements, and they're gonna go in the restaurant business. So,
Norman Jay's out there, they reopened.
yep,
Yeah, too many signs, but yeah.
They're all temporary.
I sent them a letter.
Just a few.
and that's where the Ford garage is going, is out towards where the, old go-karts racing was out there, they're gonna go right in front of there, so. Those are all like shovel ready, here we go. The main one is the only one that's still out to bid.
What is going on with all the platform trucks up there?
Oh, that's,
That's for the
State
power
Power
authority. That's their bridging so they can go in through wet areas and
Yeah.
do the lines. So they stage them up there and then the little line truck take them and distribute them out.
Yeah, it's not there a couple, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
we did last year too.
Yeah, last year, I guess now.
What are you talking about, the Ford thing on Cumberland Head?
Bailey
Ford garage, Bailey Ford.
Yeah,
So if you take a right, you're going at Cumberland Head, Four Corners, take a right, going out towards like Rennie's Repair. Remember where the old shopping center was there?
yeah,
Tore down years and years, I'm dating myself now.
Yeah.
There used to be a go-kart racing track in the back and a slide. Now we're going 1980s.
oh, yeah.
If you remember that, it's not, you don't have, in where that is, they're going straight back towards where that is. That's where Bailey Ford will be building their 68,000 square foot building. Acreage that they,
So this place on Route 3 is shutting down?
yeah, so they didn't buy the building, they just bought the franchise.
Yeah.
So the, two ladies, their husbands passed, so they still own the real estate. So obviously that building's old, antiquated, Norlock block, the whole deal, it's coming out of the city, coming into the town. So it's, the new franchise, you gotta have corporate, the customer service, you gotta have all the bells and whistles, and they couldn't achieve it there.
Coming forward.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got a ton of stuff, that's why, and next month, we plan on going live here, people, back to the chairs, back to the whole deal, so we'll see some of the ones, they wanted to be in person, they wanted to try to communicate with you and not deal with Zoom, so.
Can we start the meeting and hear stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, on that one from Murphy, we should bring up the original variance that they got.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
We will be bringing everything from the first one to what,
It was
his
the
name
car
was-
wash guy.
No, even before that.
No, before that was the Ashton Murphy. Or
Well,
all action.
Yeah, all action painting. And then
Even
the car wash
before
guy
that,
wouldn't do it.
Booth, Christopher Booth, Booth Construction, was
Yeah.
1997, 1996. We'll start right from the original, lay it out from there going forward. So it'll be a full dissertation of how we got to where we are, what we are, and what the requirements were. So it's fully gonna be laid out and how they go from there.
Just have
It's
a,
not, it's just gonna be a long meeting.
I just have a memory, I think that we said that there was not supposed to be any storage on the property. I think it was a condition that we put on it.
That was one of many. So that being said, you guys got any questions with 2 minutes to go?
On the Kia signage, the oval with the key in it, they actually have it, isn't a full size, so it should be like 54 square feet, not 30.
good question, when we,
When he presents it, we'll ask him.
to say, how did you come up with the calculations?
Well, they took just the letter, they didn't take the whole.
That's what I believe too.
Yeah, it should be the geometric shape.
Right. I'm not losing it totally. Six o'clock over there? I can see it on an angle, so I can't tell.
6 o'clock.
Ready to start off the meeting? We'll start it off. Say the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Don?
Now,
Got it, okay. Okay, can we have a roll call?
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Sherman W.
Yes.
Boswell LaFors is out, Roger Black,
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander. Yes. Patrick Duhane.
Yep.
Alexander Forster is out, Melanie Mara is out, Stephen Arnott,
Here?
Alan Lee,
Here.
Drew Orson,
Here.
Matthew Fabra. Matthew Fabra.
Can you hear us, Matt?
He's muted. Yeah, he can hear us.
Matthew Fabra.
just wait for long, I'm here.
All right. And can we have a motion that we will approve that the notices were published as required?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Sherman Revenue.
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander. Yes. Patrick Duhane.
Yep.
And can we have a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
Motion.
Second.
And roll call on that?
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Sherman Revenue.
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander. Yes. Patrick Duhane.
Yep.
And we will move on to the old business.
Mr. Chairman and board members, I have a letter from Mr. John Niles, John F. Niles, from Niles and Bracy, attorneys and counsel at law. They are asking to do a request for a rehearing of one of the first 200 variances that the board has ever given for William Voigt and Kayla Voigt for 602 Tom Miller Road. They're asking to open up the original variance that was granted for a machine shop at that location 602. They'd like to request to be heard to change that into a window. They'd like to change the use from manufacturing to sales and like a distribution center for windows. Typically, we always say yes to a request for a rehearing and let them be heard, but it's again, a request from John Niles on behalf of Kayla and William Boyd.
All right. And as stated, we usually do grant the rehearing request, so somebody like to make a motion on that one?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second, and show of hands, and roll call vote?
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Sherman Revenue.
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander. Yes. Patrick Duhane.
Yep.
All right, and to the next one?
So we're back with variance that got tabled last month. It's appeal number 2209A and 2209B. Joseph Kupka is from AEDA on behalf of the Delabella and / Delakia. They're asking for 2 variances that we can go over. They're asking to install 3 building signs on Della Drive frontage, totaling 79 square feet, 20 square feet more than what's allowed in a commercial district. And the second one is the area variance, and I should have said the first one is an area variance also, to request to be allowed to install a monument sign standing 19 feet in height, which is allowed in the district or commercial height within the district. Should that be not allowed? That is 10 feet in height. We can go over kind of the details. I'll have Alan go over the details. We'll hand it over to Joe, And then we can read the 239M referral, because this did go back down to the county for their review.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this military turnpike here, this is Della Drive here. You have Della Mitsubishi here, Della Honda, Della Toyota, and this is where Della Kia is gonna be. It does front on military turnpike as well as Della Drive. You'll see that this whole area is zoned commercial. Across the road is the service center. A little closer, we're looking at this area right here. So, on Military Turnpike, this is the intersection of Della Drive, Military Turnpike. This is looking at the building. They're looking to put a service area sign here, facing Della Drive. They're looking to put the other two signs up here, Della and Kia up here. And then out here in this grassy area, they're going to put a freestanding sign. So this is looking at the Tractor Supply across the Della Drive Road. So this is what the frontage of the building's looking at. So service being down here, and then the Della and the Kia on the front face of this building. And then the freestanding sign being over here in this island area. Those are provided by the architect. So you can see basically the signs here, so there are actually 3 on the building, 1 right here. Okay, Joe, I'll turn it over to you. We're gonna talk about the building signs first, then we'll talk about the freestanding sign second.
Okay, that's a good place to start right there. So we got the 3 building signs, and coming back with the same proposal that we tabled. Dealerships are very unique. You're really trying to present not only the business like you would any building, but also the type of dealership it is, and specifically the makes of the cars. So we have for Della as on the front off of Della Drive. You also have for the Kia as the advertisement, and also the service to present a means to give direction to people coming to keep keep pretty much the business side of it for service separate for safety factors away from the display and the sales areas, which are all to the east side, being the service side is on the west side. All these signs are facing Della Drive. We do have, we're over in the amount, but we're not requesting any signage for Military Turnpike. We're allowed another sign, but we're requesting that it actually be given a variance to put it off of Della Drive. That's pretty much, everything that we have that we're requesting for visibility. So when you come onto Della Drive, you have a clear knowledge of where you need to go and what the business is. And Della Drive is unique. It is just, other than Tractor Supply, is all 4 similar dealerships. And so it is very much in kind to everything else on it. And it doesn't distract from anything else in the neighborhood because it's all the same.
Hey, Joe, just for clarity, you are foregoing signage on the Military Turnpike side of the building in order to get this signage on the Della Drive, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
On your variance request, your Kia sign is they're just using the size of the letters to determine the size of the sign and not the whole oval shape?
No, and that is the oval shape. If you were to take the square part of the sign, it would come to that 54 square feet. If you take just the oval area, including Kia within it, it is, that oval square footage equates to a 43.09 square feet.
Okay.
That's what,
Yeah.
right here.
to make sure that we're in conjunction with what their dealer agreement is. And so we think we've given a fair proposal, and we're not looking to put anything facing Military Turnpike as far as the building signage is, and that's kind of where we scaled this down. I've gotten my name as small as I can do it as far as being within the lines of what Kia is recommending.
We understand that the Kia company has its own standards, but unfortunately, the town has its own standards also.
That being said, Mr. Chairman, this did go down to the Clinton County Planning Board for a 239M referral. And it's again, the same as last month, a disapproval with the comments. So the county decided April 8th to disapprove this with the following comments. April 8th, 2021, referral 1721, Town of Plattsburgh ZBA applicant Della Kia area variance for building signs Della Drive. The Clinton County Planning Board at its April 7th, 2021 meeting voted 6-0 to disapprove this request with the following justification forwarded to the town. The County Planning Board believes that the proliferation of signs in size, quantity, animation, and height has a negative countywide impact along the road systems throughout Clinton County. The board believes that signs are important and needed for businesses, but the signs should be controlled in size, number, location, type, animation, and height. There are two major justifications for this belief: the aesthetic blight that is created with the magnitude of signs, and the hazards created by signs, either through distraction of motorists, obstruction of the views, motorists along the road. Many studies have proven that roadside signs distract motorists, and the primary purpose of the signs is to catch a motorist's attention to relay a message. The degree in which the sign is a necessity that relays important information that the motorist wants versus unwanted distraction is always and will be debatable. The Planning Board does not find appropriate justification for the proposed additional signs and additional sign area, and encourages the applicant and town to utilize the sizes provided by the zoning ordinance. If the town is inclined to approve this request, the signs permitted should be equivalent to other similar uses in the same area that were also provided variances. The town is encouraged to enforce their zoning ordinance or to modify the existing zoning ordinance signs permitted, so such projects as these do not always need area variances to achieve similar signage to majority of businesses within the area. If your local board wishes to approve the request, it will require a majority plus one vote for the full membership of the local board. Sharon Gardner.
Steve, can I comment too on, did the board members then receive the photos then too of all the neighboring?
The Honda, Della Toyota, Mitsubishi, yes.
These, Joe?
Yeah, so, we have, this is very common for all of these dealerships which have been granted the same type of variance for Toyota, Honda, Kia, and also Knight Cattle, well, it's under a different name, but basically not automotive, where they have multiple signs. Again, the uniqueness of a dealership is to also give a name recognition to the building, and then what does the dealership consist of for the types of vehicles they have on their site. And that's the purpose of the signs. They're informative to give direction and not confusion. So that signs need to be of sufficient size that they're readable from a distance, but also give a clear direction. So we're just asking for that just for, just because of the clarity and then communicating a clear and distinct path for people to go as it relates to service and also.
Yeah, we don't disagree with you that is a necessity for the development of the building and the company itself. Open it up to the public hearing portion of the meeting. Anybody out that would like to speak to this matter?
Hello, how are you evening? Well,
here, I was here last month also. Say, looking at the depiction that Joe showed, I don't see a problem myself with those 3 signs. I did initially voice my opinion, my position last month on that large 24-foot monument. By the way, how do you all hear me, read me, over?
We can hear you just fine.
Yeah. And the other sign will be coming up next. This is just for the first 3 signs on the Dulles Drive side of the building.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I think those signs I thought it would be looking like a Las Vegas strip, which we don't want it to be. And I think the signage actually would be, very useful for the business.
All right, thank you very much.
Now, I have a little bit more to say. I looked at the Zoom meeting about 4 or 5 hours ago, from a month ago, and I would like to say that, the meeting with the, Clinton County Planning Board, we just reviewed once again their position on it. It was a negative declaration, so to speak. Another person on Zoom voiced a negative position. I didn't get that gentleman's name. And, I understand it was not supported. Now, my letter at the Zoom meeting last month was 1 hour and 11 minutes into the Zoom meeting. It was being, read. It was met with a chuckle from your staff there reading my name. Now, I understand I've voiced my position, but it matters, very matters, some different use variance. But my letter, voting ordinance law, that I was hoping the ZBA would say with, due consideration, and give respect to the application, that it was not deserving of a chuckle. So basically what I'm saying is I was offended by the staff of Plattsburgh ZBA and whoever was chuckling at mention my name. I find it very offensive. I'm a professional. I read rules and regulations, and that's what the intent of that letter was all about. You all copy that.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for your consideration. I made in that letter the fact and about the height relative to the, I think it was a 50%, with kind of a guidance, don't exceed the limit, and they're gonna be above that quite a bit. But I'll let you all have it. I spoke my piece, and, you all have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
You're quite welcome. Good night.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else out there that would like to speak to this matter?
Mr.
Anybody?
Fabro, would you have any comments, concerns?
No, none of my end at all, yet.
So, right now, the basic thing is just about 25 square feet over what the allowed.
So, right now, the way it is, they're allowed 83 square feet on the military turnpike side that they're foregoing.
Yeah,
They're allowed 59 square feet on the Yellow Honda side, they want 79, so they're about 20 square feet over what they're allowed.
Are they, you said 25 square feet over what they're allowed on the Della side or total on the building?
No, they're 20 over on the Della side. They're giving up the 83 square feet on the military turnpike side.
Right, so if you look at the building as a whole, how many square feet are they either over or under?
142 square feet total is what they would be allowed,
right.
Okay.
and they're asking for 79.
So that's an important fact for the board to make note of one way or the other.
Yeah. The fact that they are giving up the frontage of military turnpike and not reflecting the sign on that does make a big difference as far as I can see. So anybody on the board have any questions that they'd like to have answered, other than what we've heard?
So the variance would be for 20 square feet,
Correct.
and you also state within that the exception is they're giving up on.
That would be a condition of approval, correct.
How many square feet?
That would be 83.
83 square feet.
Right.
It's for 3 signs totaling 79 square
Right,
feet.
so normally it would have been 2 signs, one on each side, one 83 square foot, one 59 square feet.
Right.
They're asking for 3 signs, which is one above the total, and they're only asking for 79 square feet, opposed to 159.
And at the same time, the service is directional in nature to a certain extent, and the company name and the owner's name are all points to give to the building that what it is there for. So, anybody else have any questions or comments, or would like to make a motion?
With the thought of foregoing the sign on the military turnpike sign, I believe it to be a viable request, and therefore make a motion that we grant that.
20 square foot variance with the condition that they do not put any signage on the military turnpike.
Correct.
All right, you got a second on that one? And show of hands? And roll call vote.
Henry Hale.
Yes.
Sherman Revenue.
Yes.
Roger Black.
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander.
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yep.
All right, now we would go on to the 2209-B.
Correct, so this one will be the freestanding sign, which is pictured here. This is that island entrance coming in where I took the picture straight across. So they're looking at putting what we would consider a monument sign because of the panels on the base of the sign that covers the two legs. So basically, this picture here, because of these panels here, it turns this from a freestanding sign into a monument sign. So the difference from last month to this month, they actually lowered the height of this sign down to 19 feet. Our normal freestanding sign sits at 20 feet max. Our monument sign sits at 10 feet max, so they're asking for a 9-foot variance. Okay, Joe, anything you want to add? Go ahead.
Okay, again, like Alan had mentioned, this has been defined only by definition of the way that the sign is built as a monument sign. However, the definition doesn't fit appropriately in our view for the location, given that there is a town easement which puts our sign 67 feet from the property line, of which 15 feet is allowed when you put it, away from the property line, and that's from Military Turnpike, and 30 feet from the property line off of Della Drive. The definition of, to me, the true definition of a monument sign is regulated by your zoning ordinance and sign ordinance for concerns of visual obstruction. And in this case, the distance is so far away from where a typical monument sign would be, it doesn't serve as a monument sign that would then obstruct your vision because you're close to the road. And with those distances of that 67 feet and 30 feet being 2 and 3 times more than what's allowed, our request is that this would be looked at more like a freestanding sign visually, and function more like a freestanding sign, which then a freestanding sign is allowed to be built, is defined to be at 20 feet. So the variance request is to say, this doesn't really meet that definition, and we're allowing that monument sign to be put in, to be built. And also with the going from 24 feet to the 19 feet, just to meet the standards, it did reduce the sign square footage considerably, to just less than 30, whereas I believe it was closer to, Christopher, wasn't it somewhere around 40 something? It fell underneath the requirements just under the requirements for what's allowed for a 50-foot square foot sign. So, but given the distance off of the road for both Dallas Drive and more specifically Military Turnpike, the height will give us a good, better visual from a distance so that people know where they're requested a variance with the documentation that I've also presented to you. At the time, it was viewed that their sign, was not a monument sign, and it was defined as a freestanding sign. So that has been changed internally as far as the definition. But it was granted a variance because it exceeded even the 20-foot height that was allowed for a freestanding.
Now, Joe, to correct you, it was granted a variance for the square footage of the sign. They actually had Scion written on there as well, it exceeded the 50 square feet, that's what the variance was for.
And then it would be height too, because you couldn't do that 20
No.
foot height.
Back then, we didn't have a restricted height at that time.
Was that an amended in the variance?
Yeah, we added in the 25, we added in at one time it was 25 feet, and then we dropped it down to 20 feet.
2016, Joe, that's what you're making a mistake on. All your references were pre-2016. All those variances that you just recognized and you just put, and that we asked for, Alan did the research, and we can read them off one by one. It's incorrect. All of them are 2004, 2010. We have all the times and dates, and it was pre the 2016. 2016, we redid this sign ordinance to show like the Bobcat, Garvey Hyundai. If you look at how they were using the orange and black stripes, that's part of the signage. That's what we changed in 2016 to not having signage bases that were used as monument signs for attractants in the colors, the stripes, and around them, because it was a visual blight. So the ones that you're making reference to are pre the 2016 revised ordinance.
The Toyota freestanding sign is at 63 square feet when Scion was written on there, as well as a little red arch. So that's what they used the variance for. They exceeded the 50 square feet and used variance for 63 square feet. Back then,
Okay.
our height was just what was in Schedule B. So if it was the height of the building, it was fine. That's why some of the signs are a lot taller than they'd be allowed
My
today.
apologies, I
No
don't
problem.
understand what the correction, so.
The board asked for that last month, Joe, so Alan did the due diligence. They were asking for, I believe it was Vaso maybe, or Mr. Hale asked for when they were, what the variances were. So we had to make some justifications and do some research to see when the times and dates, but there was a group of people in this same office here, in the same room that
Okay.
hashed it out for a while.
Okay. No, I felt it was that where I actually needed to do it too on behalf of Christopher, so to get that to make sure that you had that and did a FOIL request.
That being said, I'll read in. I'm going to forego that. This also went down to the 239M referral to the county, and it did disapprove for the freestanding sign. It's got the same language except for one that I just read in, and I'll kind of break it down to say the planning board does not find appropriate justification for the proposed freestanding sign height above the permitted and encourages the applicant and the town to utilize the signs provided by the zoning ordinance. And then it goes into the same thing. The town is inclined to approve this request. The sign permitted should be equivalent to other similar uses, same areas that would also provide variances. The town is encouraged to enforce their zoning ordinance and modify the existing ordinance signs permitted as such, as these do not always need variances and achieve similar signage to the majority of the business in the area. If your board wishes to approve the request, it will require majority plus one, the votes and the full membership of the board. Sharon Gardner.
Open up the public hearing portion of the meeting. Anybody out there would like to speak to this matter, please let us know and state your name. Nobody? Okay. We'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting and have our little conversation here, saying that
Mr. Favreau, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, not yet.
Thank you.
part of the problem is the signs in the area are all relatively their sign shouldn't be that much smaller than the other ones to give them a fair competition. And as stated by the architect, that the original signage for Kia on that, for square footage, was over 43 square feet, and they are down to under 30 square feet right now. Anybody else have any comments?
I'd point out two things here. One is that this sign is actually setting further back on both directions than what's required. And the signage is actually only 29 square feet, but the variance they're asking for is only for the height of it.
Right.
So I just want to let Joe, just want to let you and Chris both know that, whatever they decide tonight, it doesn't affect the square footage of the sign. So if at some point in the future, they decide, we only got 29 square feet, we still have 21 square feet, they can put a 21 square foot sign on there without having to come back to you guys, as long as they don't raise the height of the sign. Everybody understand that?
29 square feet more.
21 square feet more than what's right now.
Yes.
Yes. So you're not losing that extra 21 square feet. I just want to point that out. You're not giving that up in order to get a height variance.
What is Tractor Supply right across the road?
Most of the signs all in there are all set by right around 20 feet high.
No, I mean, is it a base or is it a monument?
No, it's a pole.
Pole.
Yeah. I mean, the other ones that you resemble, they're all considered freestanding signs. They're all sitting about 20 feet high. At the time, we didn't consider them monument signs with those panels until we later found out that some people like to stick more things on there, and now it becomes more of a sign. So Bobcat was the one who, broke the camel's back and put a bunch of signs on those bases, and that's how can we determine from now on that will be considered a monument sign. So.
I think, we're not looking to add anything to that date other than just a thing around the pole, just to make it look a little bit more appealing. There'll be no more signage on that sign.
Okay. Any board member have any comments or concerns that you'd like to have addressed?
Now, is the reason that monument signs are looked at differently than freestanding signs is because the bottom of the monument sign create a hazard for sightlines?
Well, that's why the setbacks are set. So yes, a monument sign is set back an extra 5 feet compared to a freestanding sign, so that you can actually pull a vehicle up and see around the sign instead of where a freestanding sign, you can see through it.
That's right, so if this was a freestanding sign, it would be approved as it, correct?
Correct.
So if the board is inclined to approve this, those are two important facts you want to make note of. The fact that this does not create nearly as much of a visual hazard as a monument sign would be that's up against the setbacks. And the fact that if this was just a freestanding sign, they wouldn't need to be here for it. So again, just to make reference to the facts that are already in the record, those are two important ones if you're inclined to approve.
Correct. So the motion would be to approve this for the height, and especially considering that it is back off of both front yards. 67 off of the turnpike and another 30 off of Della.
Right, correct.
Okay. So that would be the motion to allow the height of 19 feet and the size of the sign being 29.36 square feet for the Kia.
I'll make that motion, I don't have to repeat that though.
No.
Can we add a stipulation that no signage is to be put below the Kia?
Well, they got 50 square feet.
Right, but on that frontage, on the panels themselves, or just as a sign?
They have 21
Right.
square feet.
So everybody's allowed 50 square foot of freestanding or monument signage.
Okay.
They're only using up 29 of them.
Mhm.
So they still have 21 square feet.
Okay.
So he stipulated that.
But you could make the stipulation to get a grant of variance, no other signage can go on this monument.
I would agree to that.
You want to say that they
No other signage below that.
No other signage. No other signage below the actual Kia sign. But they could put a new Kia sign on top as long as they were still underneath.
So Chris and Joe, are you catching that? They're proposing a condition, proposing a condition that your signage is 29 square feet, and that's it, that's all you get for a freestanding sign. Are you acceptable to that?
Joe, so I'll just talk real quick, and I appreciate everybody working with us in regards to it. So the only thing that would ever come about that I would look to put anything on the sign is if all of a sudden Kia came out and they said, we're Kia, blah, 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 and they said, you gotta put something on there. But I'd be willing to come back to the board and make sure that everybody was in agreement and go once again for a variance to change it. Right now, as we sit here today, Kia is Kia, and I see no reason to put anything on that monument sign other than what we are proposing right here. So if something was to change, I would come back to the board and let everybody approve it, which would be more than agreeable. And that would only be if the manufacturer changed their name or did something screwy to the site plan. But it's not gonna be because Della decided we wanted to put something on it.
Okay. Right,
The
so,
idea is looking at a logo change thing too, that, may happen in the future. But it's kind of what I've understood, what you were discussing, is that you would not want to see any additional signs put on there other than Kia is the only thing that would be touched, is the top of the sign. One sign on the top of the monument.
Correct.
Is that my understanding that the board has concerns of?
so the condition you're proposing is one sign opposed to two signs, not the square footage. So you're not conditioning 20 square feet, you're only conditioning.
the picture of the sign or show
Yeah.
how much you need here. There you go.
So-
I think what the board is saying is nothing on those three gray silver panels, correct?
Right. So we're not conditioning to the square footage, we're just conditioning no signs on the monument style.
Right.
part.
Right, so if they
Got
wanna
it.
change the
Right.
top and
Okay.
expand it to it.
And one of the states on the other.
So Chris, that allows you, if Kia decides they need to go a little bigger, you gotta put a 33 square foot sign, as long as it doesn't go over 19 feet high, you're still allowed to do that without having to come back.
Yeah, and that seems fair. I mean, obviously, I don't know if anybody's seen, there are in the midst of probably making a change here, but it looks like the biggest thing is gonna be going from a red logo to a black logo. But as far as I know right now, and like I said, I mean, I'm just like everybody else, looking at what's coming down the pipe for them, but that won't be an issue as far as I'm concerned, no. We should be good.
All right, so the motion would be then the 19 feet is okay, they will have 50 square feet, but there will be no additional signage below the top sign on the bottom panels.
But also with the condition that it's in a position it's located further
It's
from
per the site plan.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, that would be the motion.
It exceeds the setback requirement.
Right. Well, it's actually exceeding it, yes.
Yeah.
That's the motion.
That all makes sense, but Christopher, you agree to?
I'm fine with that, the way that we have proposed, like I said, I appreciate it. And I'm kind of a little blind here too, because they're going through that logo change, but as far as I know, the information on me, so it's the logo change. It would only affect the top, and it's really, it's more color than anything else, and just the actual lettering of Kia. Nothing additional.
I thought I'd just go through the two signage, just saying that we've looked at the area variance criteria and not realized the reasonable whether the benefit could be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant, which means that they need signage on their building, and we've come to the conclusion that it's reasonable. And undesirable change in neighborhood character or to nearby properties, and all the properties in that area are commercial in nature. Whether the request is substantial, and we've made the determination that it has seemed to be substantial, and whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental effects on the building, and if it was self-created, which does not necessarily negate us granting the variances that we talked about. So the motion is, as we just stated a few moments ago, and do we have a second on
I'll
that?
second.
And we have a show of hands and a roll call vote.
Henry Hill.
Yes.
Jeremy Rutherford.
Yes.
Roger Black.
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander.
Yes.
Patrick Sweeney.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you very much for everything, I appreciate it.
appreciate
Have a
you.
good evening. Good job, everybody.
Thank you, Matthew.
Good night.
Guys.
Sherman.
Motion to.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, guys.
You can always count on Sherman for that one.
Again, next month we'll be going live, as long as we don't hit any spikes, as long as we don't do everything else, we'll go back to normal. Hopefully, knock on wood, none of that happens. It seems like most of us are vaccinated, so that's also a good thing. You'll be sitting in the stands next month, be in the bleachers.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, no kidding.
You'll be one of the peasants.
Yeah, I've gotta pull out my AEDA plans and do some renderings.
Hopefully we don't laugh at you.
Better not.
Oh, got on the other side?
Yeah.
No.
She wants signage in the front yard.
Oh, yeah, right on the placard, I have my meter, I have the meter on the other side, I want to put a big sign right on lit.
Have a good night. Hopefully you feel better, get out on the.
Oh, yeah, I'll be out there.
Getting the tan on. Normally you're all tan this time of year.
There you go.
Perfect.
All right. Good one.
And again, thanks for that info.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Maybe next year will be a little better. Isabella is where we're staying too. I totally forgot there's what Isabella.
Oh, Isabella.
Yeah, that's where we're staying in Isabella. It was like from here we had a place, there's the ocean.
Oh my God.
3 steps down, right into that bay. It was awesome.
I'm jealous. I really am. We didn't go anywhere.
The flights go there now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm
Out of
sorry.
Boston. It was only like $180
Oh,
round trip.